Okay, good evening, everyone. Welcome to today's class. I hope we all had a great Sunday. So as usual, when you sign in, remember to drop your name in the chat box for attendance. And please go and alert your party members, your group members that class is on. Remember, you need 80%, at least 80% attendance for you to qualify for a certificate. So please take your attendance to class seriously. So we'll just give a few minutes for others to join in and we'll start. You're welcome. Okay, it's 5:05. Welcome again to anyone who just joined. Like I said earlier, remember to drop your name in the chat box for attendance purposes. Okay, so I officially welcome you. I think this will be the first time I'm talking to the class. My name is Umi Hassan Bello and I'm the head of polyteracy. Okay, I spoke a bit yesterday after the class, yeah, but this is an official welcome to all of you. So it's great to have you here. You're cohort XI. That's the 11th cohort. And we hope that it's going to be a smooth and an impactful ride with us all. So today we'll be having our ED. I'm sure you met with him last week. We'll be having him again today. I'll just read his profile for the benefit of those that maybe missed last week's class. Kunle Lawal is an entrepreneur, idea generator, politician, TEDx speaker, and patriot. He has a keen eye for opportunities based on his experience in politics, working with non-governmental organizations and the federal government. He's passionate about Nigeria and is what could be termed a detribalized Nigerian. He considers his boundaries to be limitless and is really focused on changing the Nigerian narrative in political participation. He currently serves as the Executive Director of the Electoral College, Nigeria. Please remember to mute your mics open entry so you don't disrupt the class. Kunle Lawal was once an acting National Publicity Secretary of Kowa Party, FCT Alliance for New Nigeria Senatorial Candidate 2019, and has since transitioned to a non-partisan influential player in politics and electoral matters in Nigeria. With a virtual warm welcome and a round of applause, can we welcome the Executive Director of Electoral College, Nigeria and Africa at large, Mr. Kunle Lawal. Welcome, sir.
Thank you very much, Lisa. And it's always a pleasure to, take a course with the cohorts. Now, by 11, this would be your third class, if I'm right. You've gone through introduction of politics and governance, and now you're moving to the executive. You've done local government administration. Now you're moving to the executive. It's a pleasure always to go over the cohort, go over courses with the cohort, with the work we do in the Electoral College. It's always an esteemed pleasure to have you guys with us. So without much ado, I'll proceed to this to the PowerPoint. I'm sure I don't know what Lisa said yesterday, but I'm sure she's spoken about your participation in the political party which you've been assigned to. If you have not been assigned to one, you should reach out to the admin within the college, and they will be happy to assign one to you. First and foremost, I would like to tell you this course is given out free by the Electoral College because we believe in political literacy. By the time you're done with this course, you realize you can't put a price on it. We of course strive off the dedication, people have to the college to decide to do more. So we expect minimal participation, and we expect punctuality. I know it's hard for everyone, but there's always this saying that if Nigerians don't pay for something, they wouldn't consider it important. But now I'm here to say, maybe they're wrong. Maybe people haven't paid attention to Nigerians as is. And I hope you guys will help me believe I'm wrong about that. As regards your assignments, you'll be having an assignment after the end of class today. I'll let you guys know what that assignment is and how that will go. But in the meantime, we'll proceed to the executive. I'm sure everybody's conversant with the executive. It's the part of governance most people like to discuss, even when they're seeking legislative position. Most of the conversations we have is around executive functions. The executive, of course, from the name, taken from execution, which means a practicality in governance or has the power to operate in governance. Executives are well spanned within the system. Now, I must clearly say that they're elected executives and appointed, but as we go over this PowerPoint, we'll get to that part. An idea of, like I always say, I like my classes interactive, so I'll be involved in the class with questions, and I'll be throwing questions across the class. Just that I'm not in love with the sound of my voice, so I think we can share the class on a simple note. So today we have the executive. Now, the primary function of the executive is to enforce laws and to maintain law and order in the state. Now, the state here does not refer to your Cross River Benue or Kaduna State or Kano or Maiduguri or Sokoto. This refers to the nation state, Nigeria, and execute governance on behalf of other arms of governance. That means the legislative and the judiciary all work together to ensure that the executive can perform its functions in executionary role. Now, they are tasked with real operations of governance, meaning they are tasked with what makes you feel governance. Now, the others which are making laws or whatever they might directly affect you. Some laws will directly affect you, like few laws that have been passed in Nigeria. There are few that come close to you. I remember the time the social media bill was being considered. I must mark you, it's now being reconsidered. I think that will be taken by the 10th Assembly, but let's see how that goes. But the social media bill, I know when it was mentioned, Nigerians went, oh no, this cannot be happening. They can't take away our power. They can't take away the only chances we have to communicate generally on social media and speak freely. We need to understand that basically in governance, this is still talking about the social media bill. I'm one of those that believes clearly that even when freedom of expression is being guaranteed by the Constitution, those freedoms must be guarded when they infringe on another person's freedom of expression. So you are free to express what you want to express, as long as it does not infringe on someone else's freedom of expression. But that's another case. You deal with that in other courses and whatever. Let's stick back to execution of governance. And of course, if such a law passes, of course, it's up to the system to deal with, the executive to deal with offenders and deal directly with what goes on. So as we're saying, the executive on behalf of other arms of governance. Now, the executive, of course, starts with the following functions: enforcement of laws. Now, law enforcement, the creation of laws is tasked on the legislative. The interpretation of these laws is tasked. The judiciary is tasked with that part. But the enforcement, and that is, we all know what enforcement means. So I'm going to practicalize enforcement of laws, like when you use goods not, or when you start manufacturing a good that is not considered by NAFDAC. NAFDAC coming to shut down your shop is an enforcement of laws. When you violate traffic, which violate traffic laws, though we have multiplications, which causes redundancies, VIO, FRSC, or one of the usual suspects will come after you. Another example of enforcement of laws is, of course, when you come to laws, let's just say when you come to practical day-to-day living and you hurt a Nigerian, or you murder a Nigerian, or you decide to do something unnationalistic or do something unpractical, and the executive starts with this enforcement. Another function of theirs will be appointment making. Now, I'm sure everybody loves this. And I know Lisa is always dusting her indigenization form for the day they decide to say, okay, a woman in Kwara State deserves this particular position in politics, governance, or Lisa loves to write a lot and quote writers, and then it has something to do with, an artistic position. And I'm sure Lisa will dust her paper and show her the indigenization, as she's from Kwara State and she's worthy enough to take that. We're not going to discuss federal character and its failures. I'm just going to mention appointment making. And I'm sure everybody gets happy when someone from your village is being appointed to head maybe a parastatal, an agency, or be an executive secretary to a commission, or etc. So appointment is vested in executive at all levels. Now, this is at federal government level, state level, and of course, local government level. And these are key things. And Nigerians love appointments. I know that it's one of the most exciting functions we have of those in the executive. Another function of the executive is defense of the state. Now, they're tasked with defense of the state at each level, be it at local government level, at state level, and at federal government level. The local government chairman is, of course, tasked with the security of his local government. Your state governor is, of course, the head of security in his state. And then the president in Nigeria. I know a lot of people want to argue, especially when it comes to governors. Governors don't have control of the commissioners of police. Sounds funny when you have that conversation. But when they have political enemies, all of a sudden they can whisk powers to apprehend or disturb their political enemies. A very good example is the case of Imo State, where I think you have Imahi and Rocha Sokorocha being chased like, you saw him having prayers in his house and still being arrested, even despite being a sitting senator. That shows how powerful governors are. But you have the case of Soludo, and when, can't even remember his name now, when the former governor of Anambra State decided to withdraw, I think about 300 billion on the day of the day he swore in the new governor. He withdrew 300 billion that morning from state coffers. And of course, Soludo was the one who, of course, will report to. It won't be written clearly. You'll just say FCC moved, but you see, that is state government. So they have powers. Selectively sometimes, like in the case of Kaduna, governors avoid these strengths or whatever. But now when you come to the case of Kaduna, what's happening in Southern Kaduna with the issues in Southern Kaduna, the governor has tried to put in some efforts. Yes, he's even empowered, I'll be honest, of all governors in Nigeria. I give him kudos for empowering the local government chairman to perform. And there's this guy, I don't want to mention his name, in local government who right now is being chased for amounts which were provided for police and army to guard, to patrol his local government, and he did nothing about it. He's no more a local government chairman, or he lost his election. What he's being focused on right now because of that action he did not take. So local government chairman, state governors, and the president are tasked with defense of the state. If there's any issue where a particular terrorist group is taking over local governments in Nigeria, I must tell you that that's therein lies the problems of the president. And no matter how you try to say the president has given the military as much as he wants to give it, no offense, but it is the duty of the president to ensure defense of that state. That task is not given to anyone else but he himself. Hence the name Commander-in-Chief is being referred to. So the Commander-in-Chief is not just for you to wear multiple uniforms, with like Goodluck Jonathan always did. No offense to Goodluck Jonathan, but I think he was the president who decided to exert his Commander-in-Chief position ceremoniously by wearing, different military attires when it came to celebrating some particular events. And I remember Nigerians being politically naive, had a lot of questions on why he could wear this or wear that when he wasn't in the army or whatever. But the truth is, like we say, the Commander-in-Chief is tasked with defense of the state. Next function will be foreign policy making. Now, I would like to cast you back to about 1963. Yes, when Nigeria became a republic. And it meant that the Queen was no more in charge of running affairs in Nigeria. Nigeria had become a full self-reliant state. And Tafawa Balewa, the Prime Minister, then said Nigeria's stand on foreign policy was to remain non-aligned. And that has remained Nigeria's stand till 2023. Do we agree with this now? I think being non-aligned is good for diplomacy back in the days, because then you had the Eastern Bloc and the Western Bloc. And to help you guys with context, the Eastern Bloc was Russia and the Western Bloc was America. So they were at loggerheads then. Of course, they were fighting their usual proxy wars, which they are still doing till today. But Nigeria has remained non-aligned. Now, being non-aligned, has it helped or has it promoted our kind of governance? It's a common debate among foreign policy analysts. Our position in especially what happened with our citizens in Sudan and the disrespect with xenophobia going on in South Africa, and even bringing down the Nigerian embassy in Ghana. Now, some have been met with stiff responses. Some have been left with things that with just no action. So it clearly shows how Nigeria as a country hasn't exactly paid attention to what it should be doing with its foreign policy. I know that if you look at somewhere like America or even Russia, before you take a citizen of Russia, trust me, you're going to think about 3 times. Putin is going to come at you with the forces of King Solomon. And we haven't seen that in Nigeria's foreign policy. We remain non-aligned, try to hurt nobody. But I would not allude to the fact that Nigeria has been the big bully in West Africa. Sometimes even getting, yes, we practice a democracy, but it doesn't mean we should interfere with other democracies. We've done that in Sao Tome, we've done that in Liberia, we've done that in multiple nations across West Africa as the big brother in West Africa. So we're just as guilty as what we blame America and Russia for in foreign policy. But this is not foreign policy class. Let's not go into foreign policy. It's one of the topics that excites me about governance. Hence, I went almost all over the place. So financial functions are also granted to the executive. That's why they can always say if there's anything when it regards to corruption of money, because corruption has generally the abuse of power. It doesn't necessarily mean stolen funds. So, but whenever Nigerians discuss stolen funds, the executive is always pointed the finger at, and this goes from local government chairman to governors to the president. Well, I've always opined that the president cannot take as much as you can, but within his cabinet, based on the people that he appoints, there's a lot of straws and loopholes are within the system, which keep dipping into public funds, like buying fire engines for about $1.2 million. You get to ask yourself a question whether the fire engines actually speak 250 ethnic languages and can fuel themselves naturally or run on air. But that's another conversation, financial functions and whatever. Anyway, the executive is tasked with financial functions. You learn in your legislative class that the legislative actually is tasked with oversight on the executive, but that's another topic, and that's something else for us to go through. Now, last function will be, of course, grants of title bonus. Now, MON, CFR, I know somebody like Dukas Peace is trying to get, a national honor. I don't know whether of course, federally. I know Charlie Atu is probably looking at that. I'm calling people within the electoral college. Lisa Atu will be a corporate there. Maybe she wants member of the order of NINDA or an ON. But granting of title bonus are, of course, done by the executive, be it within the state, within the local government, or within the federal. So next we go to governance. And this is where we question ourselves. Governance is the way and manner power is exercised in management of the country's human, material, and economic resources. Now, most of the things we have concerned ourselves about in Nigeria are always from, pardon me to say, if I can say this, are always from what they call it, a political point of view. We never really put ourselves into, taking away the politics from governance. I think I mentioned this in the earlier class, and that has been a common problem with governance in Nigeria. We've just closely focused on the politics of governance. So we always ask, this is a PDP state, this is an APC state, this is that, APC is in power, Labour Party wants power, Labour Party is going into power. The truth is that once you're sworn to the Constitution, which is what everyone is sworn to the Constitution, there's no party there's no seat belonging to a party. A party is only a vehicle to the office, but not the office. So there's a difference. It's even an abuse to have a party flag behind is totally against our Constitution, but we will do that in the Electoral Act and discuss a lot of all this other. So let's just focus on governance for a while. We should be able to hold people accountable based on what exactly we're dealing with in this facets of governance. So the management of this task of governance generally is tasked with the executive. How it is managed is, of course, dictated by the legislative, but the governance is basically in the hands of the executive. And governance are just the deliverables, which, of course, you as a citizen would enjoy from governance directly. Now, there are two types of executive. We have the elected and we have the appointed. Now, the elected executive, of course, will be the 774 local government chairmen, I'm sure you know that, the 36 state governors, and then the president and the vice president. That's the 36 state governors and their deputies, meaning that the elected executive in Nigeria are just 774 plus 72. Whoever's maths is good, 774 plus 72. 174 plus 72, that's 146, I think. 146 plus the president and the vice president, meaning 148 executive. That's how important the executive to guard 200 million people, a total land area of about 9,820 square meters of land. These 148 people are directly in control of all subunits that make up the state called Nigeria. I know I would ask you guys this question later, and I'm sure people will start telling me there are 36 governors instead of forgetting their deputies to elected, or people who count the numbers irrationally. So these are the elected executive. Now there are those that are appointed. Of course, at local government level, we have secretaries of health, secretaries of education, secretaries of, depending on local government, some people have secretaries of mineral resources. That's for places that are oil rich or mineral rich. You have secretaries covering different things. Those are appointed, and they have their PAs and SAs. The Babas have SAs. Anyway, you know the whole shenanigans. So putting that together, those are appointed. Now let's go up from local government level, we go to state level. At state level, we have commissioners, we have SSAs to the governor, senior special assistants to the governor, we have special assistants to the governor, our personal assistants to the governor. Those are SSAs, SAs, and PAs. We have, of course, commissioners, executive secretaries of different commissions, which are available federally, some that are not available federally, but are treated treated in the states. I think I give an example with the Ministry of Happiness, which was created by the Okorocha government. That doesn't exist federally. The government created that. Anyway, that's just to lighten the mood. Now let's move up to the federal power. So we have DGs, we have that's of appointed executive. We have DGs, we have executive secretaries, we have ministers, we have SSAs to the president, we have PAs to the president. All those ones have their own PAs, SSAs. Well, you get the picture. In the end, they become a whole massive bunch. And this is known as the executive in Nigeria. Now, how to achieve a functional executive? Now, what is key for an executive to function properly is the fact that there must be separation of powers. Now, separation of powers, of course, deals with the fact that the judiciary, legislative, and the executive are allowed to function in their full capacities without interruption across board. Now, you wonder whether there's interruption across board. Now, I'm going to cite a simple example. Can anybody in this class, and Lisa, Charlie, and Maureen, please allow them to unmute their mics if they raise their hand. Does anybody know under what ministry the police is? Does anybody have an idea? Unmute yourself.
Ministry of Interior.
Does anybody have an idea? You said?
Ministry of Interior.
Hello. Thank you very much. That is very correct. The Ministry of Interior. Now, that sounds a little funny. I'll tell you why. If police, which are charged with, of course, enforcement of laws, are not under the Ministry of Justice, which actually interprets the laws, they are going to have a flagrant issue between the judiciary and the executive. As we've seen 2016, I think, with the arrest of some Supreme Court judges and etc. We also have a lot of flagrant against our constitution, because in advanced democracies, The president does not appoint the attorney general. What happens is that the body of benchers, which is the highest, and I'm sure lawyers know what I'm talking about, body of benchers is a gathering of, the big legal bigwigs. You sit down together and they nominate a few, and then the president picks. That's how it's supposed to work. The president picks who he can work with or whose track record he thinks is fine with. And that's how it should work. But as long as the president appoints the attorney general or the minister of justice, I don't know why we have separate offices for those two. You will always have a minister of justice or an attorney general that is subservient to the executive. Now, this is a part in Nigeria, as the same way, yes, even though the INEC, which you're clear with, INEC is directly under the purview of National Assembly, but the head is being appointed by the president. As long as that happens, the word independence should be raised from INEC. No offense to INEC, but we are following governance. I don't have a problem with who the head of Mahmoud Yakubu. I don't have a problem with him. I don't have a problem with the president. What I'm telling you as governance should be, there's nothing independent when you've appointed a head of an INEC commission. Doesn't make literal sense, because how will he not do, as much as you say, my hand is not there, I'm president, my hand is not there, you eventually will have your hand is there. It's the way it is. You employ a houseboy and tell him not to answer you, but to run the house. It doesn't work. It doesn't work that way. Sorry, it's raining here, so you might notice a little fluctuation. So now let's go to, let me not trigger people's push up a little bit. We're going to decentralization. Centralization is necessary for a functional executive. We have too much in the center. This is not to say that where it has been decentralized, Nigerians are very quick to say, we want restructuring, Sounds kind of cool, but, we'll borrow a few examples. How has that worked with state electoral commissions? How has that worked with other things that have been decentralized to the powers of governors? Governors have become emperors of states. They've kidnapped local governments. They've seized the state assemblies, which is totally having the governor in total control of arms of government. We also have to be held to accountability to have a functional executive by the legislative. Now, in Nigeria, it critically says that the National Assembly, I think it's here hitherto, I think 2017, 2018, when over insecurity, was it 2019? When over insecurity, the legislative wanted to summon the president. And the Minister of Justice came out and said, the legislative cannot summon, the National Assembly cannot summon the president. And it's clearly written in the Constitution that the National Assembly can summon every Nigerian. I believe the president is in Nigeria, so he can be summoned. I don't know why in Nigeria, based on the kind of people we've had in governance, the translation they want to see is this National Assembly can summon the president. The people who were part of working on the Constitution, who don't write something as basic as that. It's not done anywhere in the world. It just says the National Assembly, and that's in most constitutions in the world, where it is written and where it's unwritten, like in the UK. It clearly states the National Assembly or the Congress or the Parliament can summon anybody. I'm sure you've seen videos of the British Parliament and you see what goes on with prime ministers there. I really pity British prime ministers when I see them at Parliament. It's like a dog world. It's rough, man. It's totally rough. But here, they would love to say they are, what's the word again? They're rubber stamp. That's the word. Anyway, next on the functional executive will be the rule of law. You cannot have an executive acting outside the Constitution. That happens to any other arm of governance, but especially the executive. If you do that, you're close to a dictatorship. You just have a running government that is treading on the people. I remember this was the case. Rule of law was one of the creations of what happened with NSARS, and I'm sure a lot of you were emotional about that and were instrumental into that fight, over the rights of individuals when they are arrested by the police. Now, next will be planning. We need to have an executive that plans. The last time a census was done was 2006. Give or take, that is about 16 years, so 17 years, about almost close, about 17 years. Constitution clearly states 10 years. Now, without having a census, we plan for and budget for people in a country. I've always given this example. How can you budget for a house when you don't know how many children you have? It's not possible. And therein lies the problem with planning. But I'm sure everybody remembers Vision 2020. 2020 has come and gone. Or 23 years after 2020, we haven't yet actualized Vision 2020. Remember, it was done during Abacha and Babangida time. Vision 2020 looked so far off. And there were so many, we were going to do this, we're going to do this, we're going to producing planes, we're going to produce cars, we're going to do this, we're going to do Nigeria is going to be able to stand on its own, be food sufficient. Well, 23 years after, we're in the same WhatsApp group of developing countries. So planning is key and essential to having a functional executive. Now, what can enhance a functional executive? Will come under these parameters. And of course, we have participation. Now, our idea of participation in Nigeria is basically we think that if you argue politics on WhatsApp, you argue on social media, Twitter or Facebook or Instagram, we are politically conscious. I have opined many times that the political illiteracy level, not the political literacy level, political illiteracy level in Nigeria is up to 86%. I have had people high up argue with me that, Kunle, you are wrong, it should be 94%. And I remember I was with DED somewhere during, on Saturday, we were somewhere in Abuja in the midst of, highly political people, and this argument was brought up that it's up to 94% in Nigeria. So participation is a lot more than, are you part of a political party? Are you influencing change within that political party? Are you ensuring things are being done within the constitution of the political party? People tell you political parties don't have ideology, and you take that to the bank. People tell you this is this, when it's not necessarily the case, and you take that to the bank. Why do you believe so much in your social media or daddy and mom videos? No offense, but you don't find out the facts yourself. You've never read the Constitution. Don't look at the Electoral Act. Somebody who you just follow that has multiple followers comes out and breaks things down and says it's like this, and you accept, take line and sinker, and come out publicly to argue in your beer parlors, in your restaurants, in your offices, and you take that as what is. Come on. And I critically would like to blame lawyers here. And they are guilty of this. Lawyers are of the belief that the Constitution of the Federal Republic belongs to them. It does not belong to barrister, solicitor, SAN, or whatever you call yourself. The Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria belongs to the citizens of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. It is the right and duty of every citizen of Nigeria to read that Constitution and understand it to a particular level. It is not a menu topic for lawyers. It isn't. Well, no offense. I don't want to have the lawyers, but no offense, not like much of them understand it either. But anyway, moving on before they say I'm planning a doomsday against lawyers. But generally, Constitution belongs to every Nigerian. The Electoral Act is your country's gift to you. A few of us worked on it. A few of us put in our blood, sweat, and tears to ensure that you have what you have today. Now, the question is, how you even opened it? But come on, you can argue, it will be sorry, let me use the correct word. You can argue obedient, articulated, and partified all over Nigeria. And you go all out. And you don't even know what the Electoral Act has to say. You do not know that political parties broke the Electoral Act preceding even primaries, because it's fairly stated in the Electoral Act that preceding primaries, every political party must submit an electronic and a physical copy to INEC of its detailed members all across Nigeria. And by members in a political party, following the constitution of political parties, the 18 political parties, members are people who have paid dues for more than 6 months. In some political parties, it's more than 3 months, but basically more than 6 months. No political party met this criteria, meaning every Congress, convention, and primaries conducted preceding 2023 elections were already against the law and against the Electoral Act, which of course is against the laws of Nigeria. But we're not ready for those kind of conversations. We're ready to argue this candidate did this spend money here, this one that doesn't have structure, this one has structure, this one. Those are the kind of conversations, basic, irrelevant conversations, which do not alter the needle by any mark. But we're Nigerians, let's just allow it to go ahead. We might get something better doing the same thing. We might be the first. Nobody has done it in normal time in the world, but we might do the same thing and achieve a different result. So participation is key. I will tell you, in most advanced countries or countries that have quite a lot of people are in political parties, and I'll tell you why. What you have in Nigeria is basically, and I've said this elsewhere, I'm going to say this again. What we have in Nigeria is basically a selection and not an election. And I'll tell you why. Because you are not party or not privy to how these presidential candidates emerged. So you are now forced to pick out of, okay, we presented Kunle, Chalia, Lisa, Godson. Sorry, I'm naming people within the electoral college. Godson and Adeshola. And how they came about, we have to pick one of them. I say, I want to pick Lisa, her voice is fine. No, Lisa is talking. I don't like that. He talks like a dictator. His voice is so, he talks like a dictator, doesn't even smile, minus mark, feel this one. That's this work. You want to go and give it the president, you burn down Nigeria. Some say, Lisa is too soft. I need a hard position president like ED. ED does not take nonsense. ED says it like it is. He blasts everything. ED will do a good job as president. Some say, ED and Lisa, they are drunk of their power in the electoral college. And Charlie, I've heard that talk. Charlie is soft-spoken. Peace Lucas is soft-spoken. She's a party leader. She's screwing people. Julia and Lisa, they are dictators. They are like they're like the male and female Vladimir Putin in Nigeria. And besides, they even come from the same state. So let's throw the two of them out with baby water. Well, that's the kind of conversations we have in Nigeria. Please, what I just said just now cannot be used as anybody in the electoral college or at any point. So there must also be accountability in budgeting and planning. Now, our problems are mainly no accountability. Mentioned the fire engines that were recently bought. We've mentioned Nigeria spending close to massively billions of dollars on insecurity. Nigeria spending massive billions of dollars on education and not getting anything out of it. Same with health. Same with it's all across a lot of things. And that is because there's no accountability and there's no planning. At stage A, what are we going to do? Stage B, when we achieve A, then what are we going to do? Stage C, when we've achieved this, how are we going to go about it? That does not exist in Nigeria. Somebody just comes, hey, I'm going to give you student loans. Hey, where's the money come from? Nobody knows. I'm going to remove subsidy, and then the money will be used to help Nigerians now develop what? Okay, I'm entering as president. I'm going to be president. I'm going to meet a zero empty treasury with a debt of close to some trillions of dollars. And we're just going to run Nigeria, how it's going to be so happy. Have you paid your debt? How are you going to deal with the empty budget or the budget deficit starting from May 29, 2023 to December, when there's December 31, before the new budget activates on January 1, 2024. Nobody has thought of that. The citizens aren't even thinking of that. Change. One new person, Buhari is gone. Let Buhari be going. Maybe no continuity, no accountability. No, nobody is going to review the Buhari government and say this was gone wrong. This went wrong. This went wrong here. This went wrong here. This wasn't done. This amount was spent here. This one. Students are being fed in schools. I don't know. Have they fed anybody near you? Even during COVID, the budget for school feeding was still active. God damn. Love to head that humanitarian ministry. Yeah, I finally get I'll finally be able to buy my island off the coast of West Africa. Please, okay, this is recorded. I don't intend what I just said was just for class purposes. I don't intend to buy an island. So next we must also introduce financially unattractive offices. Now this is very key to what we're ensuring that the right people enter offices. But that power lies with the legislature. Until you get in the right people who are within the legislature, that is a figment of Nigeria's imagination. It will never happen. But it is key for full participation of better actions of the, better actions of the, what they call it, of the offices. So now, freedom of speech. I've always said, I said this earlier, freedom of speech, yes, as long as it does not infringe on the freedoms guaranteed by others. So you can't just sit down and say, this person is this because you don't like him because it's evil. You don't like this one because it's Yoruba. You don't like this one because it doesn't exist. You can't say, yes, there's freedom of speech, but it does not guarantee you trampling on somebody else's freedoms and rights as guaranteed by the institution. Now, there's something that is key which is missing, which is why you are even in this class, which is to enable this to happen. The understanding by the electorate of elected office jurisdiction and powers is missing in Nigeria. That is something we need to critically deal with. That's something we need to critically handle. And that's something we need to bring to the fore. Because as long as you do not understand it, you cannot engage a system you don't basically understand. And that therein lies the problem. So you need to understand how things are going and how this is done. Now, the executive is the steering rudder of governance, and its operation signals development or degradation. The choice of this lies with the people and the electorate, which is you. Thank you, everyone. I'll be entertaining questions now. Thank you very much for paying attention. That's the end of the executive. Sorry, I'm kind of abrupt, and I'm sorry about that. Not my fault. I just realized that the slides have come to an end. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you very much, ED. So if you have questions, please indicate with a show of hands, and or you could write it in the chat box if you're probably in a noisy place and you can't unmute and speak. Thank you, ED. That was an excellent delivery as usual, as always. That was a pleasure having you. Okay, we have a hand raised. Ekomobong Udo, please, you can unmute and ask your question.
All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Kunle, for the lesson. I hope you can hear me.
Yes, loud and clear.
All right. Mr. Kunle talked about separation of powers as one of the key drivers of the executive. And if you look at Nigeria today, we have the executive, the legislature, and the judiciary. But the sad reality is, do we have the separation of powers fully in practice in Nigeria, saying that the executive is infringing on the legislature, the legislature infringing on the judiciary, and so on? How does this affect our democratic process?
Thank you very much, Udo. Udo, sorry. Your name is Udo, right? Thank you very much.
Yes, sir.
We need to critically separate something. The laws of Nigeria allow for the separation of powers. The culture that we've created in our politics is the problem. The culture, it doesn't necessarily make it known. The culture is not known. What is known is what separation of powers is guaranteed. It is totally unconstitutional. And I'll go back and cite an issue between Makinde and local government chairman in as Makinde governor of Oyo State, and local government chairman within his first tenure. And Makinde assumed he would sack local government chairman as governor. This issue was taken to court, and Makinde lost because he cannot. But the local government chairmen themselves didn't know he couldn't, because a culture has been created across Nigeria where local governors sack local government chairman. An elected position cannot fire an elected position. It does not occur. So what the problem is that we too have created a culture in saying, now so we do nothing will change. As long as we keep doing that, it's going to keep free hand. Can you imagine Governor Bello, and this is an example, Governor Yaya Bello, because he was against a particular candidate, going to uproot the road heading to that person's constituency. Come on, that is flagrant abuse of power. But they will say the immunity clause covers that. I hope somebody sues him after his tenure as governor, because that is the height. And if you do not discuss or nip this in the bud, I guarantee you that by 2027, other governors will be taking this road removal of people they dislike or are political enemies as normal, and it will become normal in Nigeria. These are the issues, which means that we have allowed the culture affect our general understanding of things more than what is on paper. What is on paper is law. There you can't say the culture of what happens, we accept it when the law is totally something different. I hope this answers your question. Udo, are you there? Okay.
Thank
I
you, sir.
hope this answers. No problem.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
All right.
Okay. Next, we have Victor Balogun. Please ask your question. You've been unmuted.
Okay, thank you, Lisa, and thank you, ED, for the excellent delivery. It's always a pleasure to listen to you. Now, my question is this: we've mentioned that we have about 84% political illiteracy in Nigeria, and that we have agencies such as the National Orientation Agency that are supposed to orientate citizens about some of these things. So, what can be done going forward? Because this political illiteracy is a major setback. I believe after the election has been concluded now, everybody has gone back to the default mode. And hoping after May 29, the new government comes in and we don't know how to even hold them accountable. So beyond electoral college, what can we do on the larger scale to ensure this large chunk of our citizens are well enlightened and can do the needful in terms of holding elected officials accountable? Thank you, sir.
If I were to answer that joke, I'll say give Kunle DG of NOA. That's a joke. But generally, I think the NOA is underperforming. They always argue on functions of financing. I don't think you need finance to control every media available in every part of the country. For me, that's your work. Everybody wants to spend money. You don't need to spend money to achieve. The Electoral College has a partnership with the NOA, though that's kind of gone south. The NOA's commitment to that partnership has been a little slow. The Electoral College is not ready to dance with public bureaucracy. I must clearly state at this point that we need to do more. INEC starts with this political education function. So is the NOA. Both of them, I don't need to say they are not in that WhatsApp. They are not even on the table in this matter. And I think this is because the present structure or the present system of things is happy with the way things are. If you tilt or have a learned society, status quo will not be maintained. So I think to ensure the survival of a particular political class or a particular political tribe that believe in quite a lot of actions, I think these things have been purposely neglected. I didn't say they are neglected and I didn't say somebody created it. I'm just drawing a picture. So I hope that kind of makes it clear with what needs to be done and how we could achieve that. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Edie. Let me just take a question from the chat box. Amir Ahmed is asking that does the executive have the power to remove or change the speaker, or if it's just mere influence, maybe by his party member? Secondly, can the VP change his party from which he or she was elected to another party, leaving his principal in the former party? Did you get a question, CD?
You've seen in the case of Zampa.
Yes, that's what he's referring to, yes.
According to the Electoral Act 2022, let me clear it. You know, that's preceding 2022. That's why I want to deal with the present. So the present Electoral Act, if you leave a party on which the ticket and the ticket you won on belongs to the political party, if you leave that party, you step down. Nobody is moving parties, don't worry. Nobody that won office is moving parties. The status quo remains right now. So according to the new Electoral Act, this clears that question. Nobody can cross parties. And then you also mentioned influence. Yes, influence, whether you like it, Nigeria, US, China, Britain, influence of a particular leader in a particular constituency affects the way lower offices act or lower offices vote. It's the influence. It's not that the governor has the power. Though there's false assumption because of the level of understanding of people in the State House of Assembly that governors have the power. In Nigeria, we're dealing with both. There's influence, and then they also poor understanding of people that I can tell you that most people don't even know or care who they voted into State House of Assembly in their states. They don't care. And because of that, you have, I don't even know what to call it. I've sat down with people in the State House of Assembly and I was short of hitting my head on the wall. But that's another conversation for another day. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Edie. Okay, we'll take a question from Nelson Otabo. Please, you can ask your question.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Mr. Kunilawa. It has been a great section. Straight to my question. When you were having your lectures, during this lecture, you made mention that one way of actually enhancing functional executive is through participation. And you further went by saying that people can be involved, can participate to ensure a functional executive when who are involved in political parties, like participate in political parties activities. So now I'm asking, must you participating and ensuring a functional executive, does it need you to actually be involved in political parties, or you still need to be involved in civil society engagement? Because I used to hear from other quarters that apart from joining political parties, you can also be part of civil society organizations that engage these political leaders. So are you saying that if you involve in civil society society organizations, you are not participating? That's my question.
I didn't say that. Electoral College in Nigeria is a civil service, is a CSO. So I didn't say that. Being part of the CSO is also engaging. But I would also tell you there's a thin line between activism and governance. Activism just sees everything to be wrong. Those are activists. I don't think we're activists in the Electoral College, and I think I've stopped the Electoral College within my time and tenure of leading it, that we do not think like activists. But I will tell you, being in the civil service space, civil service space, being in the civic space, it will allow you engage and participate, but also to what, it depends to the degree of participation. So what I was speaking of was things that will identically churn or change the wheel. We all know that CSOs are screaming from here, blue model from here to Jericho, and the outcome is basically poor, but we will get there. And I think it's a conversation we can always have. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Edie. We'll take a question from Kinsemoyi Farid.
Lisa, are you there?
Yes, you can ask your question, Akinsemoyi.
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
All right. Thank you, Kunle Lawal, for taking your time out to give us this class. So my question is regarding the executive position, that is the appointed and the elected. What is the relationship between the two? For instance, when an elected person comes into office, what are the criteria that he has to put in appointed positions? For instance, what's the criteria of choosing a minister or a commissioner or a special advisor? Can he just pick anybody he wants? Or, what are the criteria for that? That's my question.
Now, criteria differ from president to president, from governor to governor, from local government chairman to local government chairman. The fact that you elected him has already guaranteed that whatever criteria he wants to use as his measurement tool, you are comfortable with it. That's one of the decisions you make when electing a president. You don't just elect him for the fact you are electing a president. You elect him because you trust his understanding to appoint the kind of people that you would like to see to participate in a full team that would help move the country forward. So the task of course, the elected is to pick the appointed. Appointment, it is a task. So you should know that when you are voting, can this guy make choices correctly? Can he make critical choices? Can he make choices? Can he do what is necessary that is best in the interest of the state? Now, those are questions you need to ask yourself before you pick somebody, because there's no set down criteria. Okay, to be a minister, this guy must do this now. There's no set down criteria. To be a special advisor, no, that's not. You pick a special advisor to advise you on special matters, depending on what zone or thing he's dealing on. Like special advisor on, let's say, politics and governance should understand politics and governance to a particular level in which he can advise on a situation. Special advisor on health to be able to understand health enough to advise the governor to let that no, we should put more money in primary healthcare centers than we are in hospital, because that is the closest one to the people. And when we start doing that, we can see a change before we start pumping money into hospital. That's the job of the special advisor. Whether they listen to them or they don't listen to them, that's another different ballgame. That's not what we're asking. We're talking about the relationship between the appointments and the elected. So I think that should answer your question. Thank you very much.
Okay,
I
thank you,
noticed on
Okay.
that something stated he asked the question.
Yes, someone relating to this question of appointed and all, someone is asking that in a case where an appointed executive fails or is failing at their responsibilities, that at what point do the other arm of government come in to checkmate this unaccountability?
That is totally left discretion of the president, or discretion of the governor, or discretion of whoever is handling it. It's totally left to him. You can't. There's no criteria. There's no timeline. There's no choices. That's why when you see when you are electing president, open your eye, shine your eye. That's why we tell you that. These matters are totally exclusively in the hand of whoever is heading the government at the time, and that's how it operates. So you can't. There's no time frame. There's no timeline. Governance does not provide for anything. But the fact that this needs to be done, I hope.
Okay, I think the person is actually talking about appointed positions, not elected positions.
You didn't get what I was saying, Lisa. What I said. Who of course determines the timeline of someone that is in appointed position is an elected person position. So it's the jurisdiction is left to those in elected. If Nigeria is not working, if the president feels that the minister is not working and he wants to change it, you can do nothing about it. It's nothing.
Okay.
And that's why I'm talking from here, because the reason an appointed executive exists is because an elected executive appointed him.
Put him there, yes. I think what the person was actually trying to know is if the elected do not take any stance, can other arms of government do something about it? If I get the question correctly.
Cannot.
Okay.
I'll give you an example. Case the Adama resident electoral commissioner. Even after what he did, INEC had no right. INEC cannot suspend him. The only person that can suspend him is the president, because resident electoral commissioners are appointed by the president.
Okay.
Anything. INEC could just say, "Oh, yeah, come to Abuja." They couldn't do more than that. They can't do more than that.
Yeah, that's true.
It lies in the even when security service chiefs were misbehaving.
Yeah.
As regards security, all the Senate could do was summon him. They can't
remove
him. They complain, and nag. Power lies with him. Hence, became the president, which is the same thing as something.
Okay, awesome. That's very clear. Thank you. Okay, I think Aki Semoyi still has probably a follow-up question. You can speak.
So my second question is, sorry, this question might sound like obvious, but in politics, I don't really know anything. So in the elected positions, for instance, I know the president has immunity. So what I want to know is, to what extent is the immunity exactly, and is it exclusive to just the president, or do the governors to have immunity, and do the local government chairman to have their own form of immunity? Like, what does immunity really mean? Yeah, that's it.
Okay, so first, let me start with who has immunity or not. So, president, vice president, governor, deputy governor, they have immunity. Local government chairman, zero immunity. The reason is, if you do not put that immunity clause to a degree, you're going to have civil cases just because somebody's unhappy about the president. I will tell you, even with the immunity clause, the president is every president in every country is the most sued person in that country. And therein lies the problem. So you need a particular immunity clause. Now, the immunity clause are extended to a point where it does not infringe on treasonable actions. Treason is actions against the state, because they are sworn to protect the Constitution and the state. So as long as they do not go in matters that put the state in jeopardy, well, not in jeopardy economically, but threaten the unity of the state, I as well can remain in office. And I hope that simply answers your question. I was asking, I said, I hope that simply answers your question.
Oh, I was on mute. It answers my question. Thanks.
Okay, thank you. I'd like to ask a question now. Now, we've always had women talking about inclusion, they're not being allowed. Lisa, this is for your gender. Now, we had a class just now. I didn't hear one female voice, one. Later, you people say you want to see female governor. People say you cannot eat dinner if you do not sit down on the table. Electoral College is very, very interested in female participation. We don't invite you here to come and keep quiet. This is not a lecture on cooking of yams, which you already understand. You can do better than us. No offense.
Ladies, what's happening? We don't have questions. Please let a lady ask a question.
You sit down in your forums and say, men don't allow us. It's men that has kicked us out. We have locked up. For you, and we are not saying what's up now. It's your gender alpha.
Maybe the lecture was so clear.
Let me talk. Don't give them that excuse. Let's go. I should discuss makeup and foundation every day.
Okay.
Tone down small. No, I'm just joking. For harassing.
Okay, you know, Deborah is here to break the jinx. Please go ahead and ask your question.
Thank you.
Good evening, Edie, sir, and good evening, colleagues. Yes. Thanks for the lecturers.
Thank you very much. First, I'm not.
I can't hear you. Hello, can you hear me?
Is it me or you are breaking?
Okay, I can hear you now.
Yeah, you went off for a while.
Okay, my question is, you were trying to break down the executives, and you said we have the elected sets of executives and those who are appointed. But I didn't get that calculation and how you came about 146. I heard you say 774, and then you were talking about adding the state governors, the deputies, and then the president and deputy. But how you got that other figure, I don't know. I got lost there, so I wanted to clarify. Thank you.
You back now. So I was supposed to be adding, I had added 72 governors, I had added the president. I don't know what I was doing because I was talking fast. I think I calculated 746. So what I was trying to calculate was 774 plus 76. Can we do that now so that we have a clear calculation for it? 774 plus 76, that's governors and their deputies. Let's do that. So I'm sorry, I need to use a calculator. I'm very tired right now. So I'm sorry about that. I think I made that mistake. Thank you for bringing me back. So 774 plus 76 will give you 850.
Edie, can you be a bit more audible, please?
And I said 774 plus.
Okay, thank you.
76 is 850. Now, 850 plus 2, that's president and vice president, meaning 852 elected executives. 852. I'm sorry about the earlier calculation. I think I was talking fast and because I don't know that I calculated. So thank you for bringing that to my notice, Deborah. And Deborah, for the purpose of this class, nobody calls me sir. I'm not knighted by the king of India. Thank you very much.
Noted. Okay. Please, just to get a little bit more clarification. The 76, you're referring to 36 governors and 36 deputies, and which should be 36, 72.
You see, people, I'm talking too much. My head is spinning. Please recalculate.
Sorry.
Please recalculate it. And nobody corrected me. You can see I'm tired right now. So that's 774 plus 72. That's 846 plus 2. That is 848. I hope this number is correct. And I'm not. You can see the EG is a human being. 848. So 848 entirely.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's correct.
Finally. Thank you very much.
Okay, so I can see more ladies raising up their hands. Ololade, please ask your question.
All right, can you hear me? Good evening. Thank you for
Yes,
the
we can
class.
hear you.
All right, thank you so much. All right, so I'm going to refer back to what you said about women not being allowed on the table. I think I've said it like I've asked that 1,001 time. How can women be on the table? When you have men that has this mentality that women can't rule or women can't govern. So I've been in one of the most prominent party secretary at one time just before the election. And so we got talking and I said, oh, I'm an advocate for women and youth inclusion in governance. And everyone in the room turned on me and they're like, you see, people are the problem. Women should okay, so after the argument about why women should also be given an opportunity to rule and all of that. And so I just did just like, okay, so now what you guys are trying to say is women shouldn't be elected into office, but should be appointed by you guys, and everyone in the room crossed yes. I just said, right, wow. So I advocacy for women inclusion in governance in the mod because that is still the mentality some people have. And I remember even the Adamawa State governorship, candidate where everyone was written that okay, hopefully we have a woman come forth. And so I was engaging someone from the north, and he said, no, that was rubbish. How will a woman be the governor? So he's saying that when our serikis or our kings or our chiefs goes to visit, they bow down to the king and to the governor. Are you saying our chiefs or our kings should bow down to a woman? That is an abomination. It's not possible. And this is someone that, educated, is also in the hands of affairs and all of that. So I'm just saying, with this mentality that we have from the guys, how do you think women can also sit at the table? Trust me, it's hard. We've had that conversation over and over again, and it still boils down to women still can't speak up leadership position. Thank you, sir.
I don't agree. I don't agree with you, and I've displayed that through my participation in politics. And I've also displayed serve in elected positions and political appointed positions. So I disagree with you. First and foremost, I would like to clearly state, hello? Can everybody hear me? First and foremost, I would like to clearly state, I do not understand the we you are discussing. And if the we you are trying to discuss, the we you are trying to use is men in general. And I'll say at that point, it missed the conversation. And I'm going to be clear about this. I did not support Binani being governor of Adamawa State, and here is why. As much as I would love to see a man governor, I would not want to see the process being thrown into the bush. The process is more important than the product. If the process is flawed, you can never have an effect. So for me, that is how I saw it. And I'm not shy to say this. I've said this on channels. I'm not shy to say this. Women need to understand one critical key point. The fight for political power is not a walk in the park. It is not going to be a walk in the park for you too. This is clear. So don't think by giving you free forms, it means that you are going to become the candidate. No, you're not. You need to put in the work. We, which is men you're referring to, no offense, we put in the work. So you should also put in the work. And now I'm answering this because of the way you put your question. That's why I'm answering in that manner. Now, there's no war, and a lot of people, more than you think, are fighting. And I don't know of chiefs that actually bow down to a governor. Please show me these things. They greet the governor, but no chief, at least a first-class chief, will bow down to a governor. That doesn't happen. Even when you have Governor Wike gathering them in a room and giving them a key vocal punch, but you don't have them bowing down to him. They can respectfully shake his hand. I don't see anything wrong with the female governor. I've supported quite a lot to be in positions, but I also will not support a woman. And I would cite an example. Within Abuja, post after I ran, somebody was, a girl was running for councillor. And she asked me a question. And she approached me, how can I need your support? You had quite a lot of votes in my constituency. If you vetted me as a woman, I would probably do well and I asked this particular question. So why are you running for office? And she said, because I want to help my people. I said, don't give me that question. Why are you running for office? This girl does not know the functions of a councillor. I will not support that. I'm making it clear. Even with guys, if you come to me at that, I will not support that rubbish. I'm being clear about it. I've been clear that good governance has no gender or tribe. And I will not. I'm not one of these people. And I'm sure this uncle will tell you, if a woman is doing what exactly is supposed to be done, I will support. I won't support you because you're a woman. I won't support you because of something equality I can see, whether you're young. That is no criteria to me. Do you fit the job? And can you do the job perfectly? That I will support. Any other thing? No. I'll give you an example. I had the opportunity of speaking at the NBA Women's Conference in Lagos. And I and what I did, my statement was clear. I said, I'd love to see a female president. To whom was it? I said, how many women are in politics?
We cannot hear you any longer. Maybe. I think we lost him. He'll probably join back soon. Let's just be patient.
Okay, sorry about that. I don't know what happened while I was going on. Where did I stop, please, Lisa? Hello?
We're about to give an example. Welcome back.
So I was at the Nigerian Bar Association Women's Forum. And we had like 700 women in the room. Honorable NFL Luke spoke for me and was generating up the stuff for women, etc., etc. And sorry, is this break is okay? This is more stable.
It's still
okay, fine.
breaking a bit.
I'm sorry, I'll try to mute this. So I think this is more stable. So I was with him at that meeting, and he was saying lots of things, and I asked 2 questions. I'd love to see a female president, people scream. I'd love to see a female governor, people scream. How many women are in political parties? And in a room of 7, and this is not to attack women. We're trying to have conversations. This conversation, men don't allow, that's not true. Yes, there are a few, but that is not the basic rule. So of all 700 women that were in the room, only 6 were in a political party. Your idea, I saw a lot of women excited when free forms were given. And I remember, Lisa, I made a statement within the Electoral College, and I clearly stated that these women will not translate to candidates. We have the worst set of women emerging within leadership in this election. We're going from bad to, and it's a situation. So I don't subscribe for the we please. I think I've done too much within the system to be told we like just now. There's Lisa here, but I was the one that noted that women hadn't participated in this conversation, and I wanted to hear. So that is me opening up and saying, what's going on? What's wrong? You understand? So a lot of us want you coming to the room and engaging, but a lot of us also demand that you come to the room armed. I hope this makes sense to you. Thank you.
Thank you, Edie. What you said is the absolute truth, really. Amira, please, you can ask your question.
Good evening, everyone.
Hello.
Okay, so I just want to make a comment before I ask my question. What you said is relatively true. But we also have to put into consideration that I don't want to use the word allow, like saying we've only been allowed an opportunity to come to the table relatively recently. So it will take some time, it will take some getting used to for more women to emerge or more women to come out of their shells, and the mindset, the stereotype. There's just a lot of inner battles to be fought before more women step up to take on these positions. So I'm just saying that we need a little more time to show up, because we've only recently broken that jinx or barrier. So that's that about the comment. Then for my question, so in the calculation for the executives, I noticed that, sorry? No, there's no problem. There's no problem with calculation. So I noticed that FCT was not included. Then I quickly researched it, and I noticed that the president appoints a minister. So basically the president is the governor of FCT.
Yes.
Okay, so I just want to understand why the president is the governor of FCT. I understand it's the capital, but what's the ideology behind it?
The president is not a governor of the FCT. The FCT has local government chairmen that manage its municipals. So the word is municipals with the FCT. And these chairmen are directly involved administratively as executive powers. Now we must remember that even though people don't want to agree, the FCT has a special status. It actually does as the capital of Nigeria. And as in every capital, what you would have relatively is not a governor, but a mayor, like you have in London, you have in multiple places, Freetown, different capitals. So what you would have is a mayor, and what people have acclimatized for Washington to have, what is a mayor. That's what you have as a, but right now, the minister who's appointed by the president kind of serves in an executive position overseeing the FCT, which should not be, it should actually be a people's choice. I think we inherited that from the military, and we refused to divorce ourselves from it. So it's a case of context and a case of what exactly we choose to do. But the FCT as a capital has a special status. It shouldn't have a governor like other states.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Amira.
Okay. So we have another from Miyiwia. I hope I got that correctly. Please go ahead and ask your question.
Good evening. It's Miria. Yeah, thank
Miyiwia.
you.
Okay.
Yes. I have learned a lot. Just this is the fourth class we're having, and I have learned a lot. But then I would like to ask, because as someone who is just coming out from the point where I just don't care, because I know things will not work in this country, to the point where I want to actually participate in making things work, because I have found out that there is something I can do to make things work, at least at my level. So the question that has been ringing in my mind throughout all the lectures that have been taken, the questions that have been asked is, what exactly can I do to participate? What can we do on our level as mere citizens, in quotes, to participate? I got one that said we should join political parties, right? So apart from that, what can we do? Hello? Hello?
Hello? Hello?
Yes, I can hear you now.
Okay. So I said a call was coming through and I kind of missed most of what you said. I'm using my phone now, no longer the laptop. I don't know what's wrong with the Wi-Fi. I'll try and sign back with the laptop. So
All right, let me go again.
okay.
Should I?
Yeah, you can.
Okay. I was just asking, generally speaking, to know what exactly, maybe if we can get a list or something of things to do to actually participate, to start participating in the affairs of the political affairs and governance of this country. I got one, which is to become a member of a political party and the requirements thereof. Well, apart from that, I don't know if there are others. Can I know?
Okay. It's a whole charade of things. There's so many things you can do. You can interface with the government. There's so many things you can do. There are a lot of things you can do. But being honest, I think that when you're done, so I think that when you're done, you can generally, as done with the course, you generally know where exactly you fit. You would understand where you will be. You can generally decide to what path you can decide to follow or what path you can decide to go with. I can't really mandate and say this is the best way or that is the best way or this is one of the ways or this is one of the other ways. But I can tell you clearly that that you will find a way, and that way you understand. I hope after this class will be more clear to you, a way best suited to you that will encourage you to be able to participate and hold government accountable. I love the fact that you've moved from where you don't care to where you are right now. We need a lot of people where you are right now. You don't have, this is your future. Even if it's not your future and you don't care about your future, it's the future of the next generation. And that is important. I always tell people I have two godfathers, and my two godfathers are the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria and next generation. As long as it's in tandem with those two, I will stick and I will try to make things possible, or try to attempt to make things possible. And and work within those parameters. So thank you very much, Miriam.
Thank you, sir.
It's great hearing from you. I repeat that I'm not united by the Chamber of England.
Thank you, Edie.
Thank you.
Okay. Well done, Edie. We have a question from Sunday Timothy. Please, you can go ahead and ask.
All right. Thank you, Edie. Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
Yeah. My question is, although I asked the question yesterday, but I was not clear, and I still want to ask. The Constitution said that the FCT should be treated as a state in the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Why is it not treated as such? They made a lot of appointments. They made ministers' appointment and other appointments, but they've never made anyone from the FCT a minister also. So why is it like that? And there was a court order last year mandating the government to appoint a minister from the FCT, and that court order was never respected. Why is it like that?
Have you read the particular section? I think it's created to 2.9. I'm right. Let me check. I think it's section 2.9. Now I'll need to consider. I don't want to make a mistake, and I want everybody to go on with this. So section 299, I believe, yes, I believe is the section 299. Okay, yes, it is section 299. And the provisions of this constitution shall apply with Federal Capital Territory as if it were. Listen, as if it were. It didn't say as a state. As if it were, meaning the FCT is not a state. All legislative powers, the executive powers and judicial powers vested in the House of Assembly, governor of a state and courts of a state shall respectively vest in the National Assembly, the President of the Federation, and in courts which by virtue of the foregoing provisions are courts established for the Federal Capital Territory. Most people have not read this thing and they use it to argue that the FCT is a state. That's why I'm bringing it clear to you so we are going to walk over this particular section. B, all the powers as referred to in paragraph A of this constitution shall be exercised in accordance with the provisions of the constitution. The provisions of this constitution pertaining to matters aforesaid shall be read with such modifications and adaptations as may be reasonably necessary to bring them into conformity with the provisions of this section, meaning that the FCT is not a state. Thank you very much. It's a usual argument, but it's an argument by very lay people that haven't read the Constitution. No offense. I know you probably have heard it over the argument as regards 25%. This section was being quoted, but come on, people that went to school should understand what this section means. It means as it were a state, not that it is a state. It's clear, except you want to start our legal mumbo jumbos as usual in Nigeria. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Edie. I think someone is asking in the chat box that since local governments don't have autonomy, are they really executive government or appointed government?
Who said local government don't have autonomy? Must still be written.
Ambassador Godwin Kumai Akao.
Is there any point in the Constitution that it was written that states have autonomy? It was not written anywhere in the Constitution. They don't need to write things. This is the problem with Nigeria. We expect them to write, the president can brush his teeth at 7 a.m. Come on, how many things are we going to put in the Constitution? I think it needs to be written or needs to be cleared out because Nigerians just find a funny way to absolve themselves from the responsibility in which they were. So local government is perfectly executive when it comes to local government chairman. And then as regards councillors, those are the National Assembly of the local government, meaning they are legislative. Thank you very much. I hope that answers your question.
Yes, I'm sure it does. Okay, Makondrola, please, you can ask a question.
Okay. Good evening.
Yeah, people are going to need this today. Anyway, good evening, Makondrola. How are you?
Yeah, I'm fine. Thanks for the wonderful session. My question is just more of I just want to have an idea. Followed your lecture, and we spoke about the executive today. Now, we spoke about, like you rightly pointed out, that most people, like most of these governors, for instance, they misbehave and, they are megalomaniac in nature. And when they get power, they misbehave simply because they have, I don't know how to put it, they have immunity, yes. So now, is it not possible that we have sitting executive members who will be stripped of their immunity? I don't know. It's just, I'm just.
don't
Sir?
understand what you're, you don't understand what you're saying.
What I'm saying is this: is it not possible that we have? Okay, maybe I think it's in the Constitution. That Constitution has there's a provision for immunity for these people, like executive governors and all that. But you know, they now have excesses they do with the power while they are in the office. What I'm trying to ask is it not possible that immunity be taken off from these people while they are even in office?
That's left to your National Assembly, and that's also left to your State House of Assembly. The reason that state governors are able to act out of parameters is because the State House of Assembly, which is supposed to check them, you citizens have not pushed the State House of Assembly to hold them accountable. Everything you are discussing, President and the Vice President and ministers in Abuja, nobody is discussing the State House of Assembly. Have you, and Makunjola, at this point, I'd like to ask, what state are you from? Control, are you there? Okay, regardless, whatever state he is from, has he held his State House of Assembly to act on excesses by governor or by the governor? This is where the problem lies. And we just have people in State House of Assembly that don't pass any bills individually, but pass bills handed to them by the executive, which means the executive have them in their pocket. Hence the problem we have with trying to hold excesses of the executive at the state level. Thank you.
Okay, we have another question from Jimo.
Wait, Lisa, before you go ahead, I think Miriam in the comment section asked what is the correct answer for yesterday's assignment. We are trying to encourage people to interact, which is why I put out the names of those that scored well and those that didn't. So contact those that scored well and ask them what they wrote. They will tell you what the answer is. I think that would be the best way to answer that. Because they're trying to, some of them are within your political parties. Some of them are within your, and nobody has really joined the political parties. Nobody is. Your present assignment coming today is going to have to do with your political party. So if you're not in a party, you'll be out of this assignment. Let's have Jimo.
Okay. Jimo, you can ask. Okay. Are you there? Jimo Abdulkader, are you there?
Okay, if Jimo is not there, let's have it.
Hello, good evening, sir.
Good evening. Hi again.
Yes, well done, ED, for this wonderful session. This my question goes synonymous with that of Ms. Amira. So, as regard the FCT, the municipal in FCT, I think they have their chairman, like that normal chairman in other states.
Yeah.
So I want to get that correctly. Yeah. Can we have them as part of the local government chairman, or they are not normal functioning chairman as in the normal state setting?
They are functional local government chairmen, and they are added to the local government chairman. Regardless of their special status, they have the functions of the local government chairman. The Constitution is clear on their performance and how things are being done. So they are local government chairmen, just that they have the municipal status. So the status is because they head a part, but they are also among the local government chairmen in Nigeria.
Okay,
all right.
I believe that answered the question. Okay, Amira wants to ask another question. Please go ahead.
I just wanted to ask, you said that we can hold our state responsible, our state house responsible, but what's the process? Hello?
I didn't say. You,
okay.
While we're having this conversation and this class, everything I've said in this class or within this conversation is backed by the Constitution. I'm not saying it because it's not really that I said it.
Okay.
Stop saying I said. I didn't say it. Okay. So I'll hold them accountable. Right? They can be recalled You get to that with your legislative, which is why I don't want to start teaching another class here. They can be recalled. You can reach out to them and tell them what you need. If they don't answer that, they can be recalled. It's quite easy to recall a state house of assembly. In a state like, I'm just guessing, maybe Kaduna, whatever that. Kaduna, I believe, has 24 state house of assembly members. It should not be that hard to recall them. I don't think any one of them got voted with more than 10,000 votes. It's not even up to 10,000 votes. So they can easily be recalled, and the recall system is getting 50 plus 1 of the entire votes that brought them in. So if all the people that participated in the election that brought them in were, let's say, 31,000, it means that you need to get 16,501 people to sign to recall the State House of Assembly. It doesn't want to pay attention to doing what you want done, or you failed him and he hasn't followed on such parameters. Thank you very much. Hello, can you guys
I
hear
think
me?
that's the last question for the day. Thank you, Edie. It's been very interactive as usual.
So,
okay, someone is complaining that he submitted his assignment but didn't get a score. I'm surprised. Amadine, do you mean that you got nothing, or your name was not even among the ones compiled?
I think you can take that. Let's
Can you hear me?
Yes, you can.
Amadine, I don't. Your issue was mentioned to me by Maureen. You complained to Maureen, right?
Yes.
Yes, the issue was mentioned, and I checked across both emails. Your name was not. Your email didn't get into our listing, which is why your name didn't show.
All right, no problem.
I don't know for what reason, because you had a timestamp. I saw your this thing, and I think I was saying something to do with it. But I've been on other thing because I know you eventually. Ezekiel, I believe you submitted after time. I remember that. I'm not sure, but I need to go about this thing. But I think the WhatsApp group for political parties is not working. I can't join. Please, if you guys don't have an issue, do you understand? Take it up with the class admin. They are there. I'm the head of literacy. Your mommy Gio is Lisa. People stop terrorizing me. Yeah, thank you. I meant that as a joke. So basically, your assignment this week is before Wednesday, each political party must have a congress. A congress means a meeting, and you must decide a party chairman. Party chairman must be submitted to the Electoral College. And what I mean is you must submit on your class group, that's on your Telegram group. This is how we came up with our party chairman, whether it was what mode of election, or if he was appointed, or it was a consensus agreement, or it was a direct vote. You must appoint a party chairman. We expect to read from you. We expect before Wednesday 5 p.m. all party chairmen must be submitted. Now, I would say this. If you do not do this as a party, I will tell you something, it is not wicked. It just likes following the law. It's a problem. So if I do not see it at 5.00, 501 will not. If you do not have a group, you are supposed to have complained to the, it's not now. We put these groups out like a week ago. Nobody thought it was important. I don't know, Lisa, should we start making people pay for Electoral College class? Because it seems that they're getting so much free information and they don't value it. Hence the Nigerian problem. Lisa, what do you think?
Yeah, maybe we would.
No, maybe by the time they pay 400
Nigerian thing. Exactly. You know.
I don't understand. We make everything simple for you guys, and you guys make it hard for us. So please, everybody, join your classes, join your groups, get this done. First and foremost, I will be reviewing. I need a party chairman. That party chairman is responsible. We'll tell you the responsibilities of your party chairman when you have appointed him. I will tell you if any party does I don't care whether you pushed your party, you didn't push your party. If I do not have a name, I will dissolve that political party and throw it to the one that is working. That is what we will do. And if you as a member decide, or if you as a member is not, you've chosen not to be in a party, I can as well just tell you, you can as well just be loose. I will not this time, and the Electoral College will not release a certificate to anybody that is partyless. It doesn't happen in Nigeria. We are not yet independent candidates. We don't have independent candidacy, and that will not work. I hope I made this abundantly clear. You guys have taken up my Saturday. It's a pleasure to do that for the love of country. Thank you very much. ED is not harsh sometimes, but ED just, we put a lot to getting this done. It's just shocking that, just a little commitment is so hard. And, it's shocking. Don't worry, we'll discuss that later.
For those, okay.
No, go ahead, Lisa.
I can see a lot of people saying they're not in their groups and all that. I don't know what, because we've written a lot on the Telegram group to contact the admin.
Your names are there. If your name is not there, then get in contact. Your names are there. Everything is there. You've been so check through the names. This group is there. That's why how your private conversation, so you don't interrupt the relevant information on the group. Please, Nigerians, do not mortgage your responsibilities like we mortgage our responsibilities with governors. Say is the governor. Yeah, when you were voting somebody that came with G class, you don't know where do you think the G class came? Let's not start that conclusion. Thank you everyone for attending the class. Thank you everyone for being part.
Thank you so much, Edie. It's been a very insightful class.
Yes, and you have watching my Arsenal match, so we want to do.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. I'm watching you with Connor.
Amira and Yemisi, you're still raising up your hands.
I just want to ask. I just wanted to say, please. You said you're going to release the roles of the chairman after. I just don't feel so comfortable vying for a post where I don't know what is expected of me.
Amira, vie for the post. Amira, you're a woman. This is what we discussed earlier. Buy for the post.
I want to know if the demand.
But this conversation has entered voicemail. But I will buy your phone. Buy for the.
Hello, everyone.
Okay. So Amira, buy for the post. Yemisi.
Hi, good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
I'm sorry, I'm not a member of this board. I just want to make an announcement. Please, for all attendees, kindly register your Zoom account with your name. Help us to take attendance properly. I can't take attendance of Redmi Note 9,
iPhone. Yeah.
Please, Incredible V, please use your government's name, please. We need your name. Please, let's register our Zoom account with our names. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Please, that's very important. Yeah.
Listen, please, let's stick to names. It's used for your attendance. Please, iPhone, Redmi. I think Redmi has changed to name. Can't see Redmi. Thank you very much. iPhone is still there. So you guys, thanks for the long session. God damn, I'm tired. You guys have robbed me of my Saturday.
Hey, they don't want to let you go.
I'm beefing. Anyway, my team won 2-0, so I'm fine. The game is coming.
Are we? Yeah, Missy, you still want to say something? Your hands are still up. Okay, I guess not. All right, thank you so much. Thank you, Edie. Always a pleasure having you. We always learn new things, whenever you take the class. So thank you, everyone. Thank you for being in class. And of course, the assignment has been given, so please let's endeavor to do that. For those who do not have parties, please reach out to Maureen, but make sure you check through the list to be sure that your name is not in any of them before you reach out, to her, if you can't find your name on any of the groups. Okay, so this is calling it an evening. Have a fulfilling and fruitful week ahead. And good night from us at the Electoral College.
Good night. Good night.
Yeah.
Thank you. Good night.
Good night.
Thank you. Good night, everyone.
Thank you, Electoral College.
Hi. Lovely section.
Please, ADC